Hi, and thanks for joining us today. On today's show, myself and Chris will look back at the Liverpool versus Tottenham result and all the indiscretions that went with it. We'll be discussing the pros and cons of VAR and also looking forward to the Southampton match. So, without further ado, I invite you to sit back, relax, and join us over the pool and far away. Thanks for joining us. As I said in the lead up, I'm joined by Chris Strigian from the Red Rebel Alliance. Chris, how's it going, mate?
Yeah, really good. Thanks, mate. And yourself?
Well, as well as can be expected. We'll get to all that in a minute. I would love to just talk about football, just, 1 week. No transfer windows, no stupid refereeing decisions. Yeah, it'd be great to get back to, the reason we're actually fans. And I understand that certain people are probably bored to tears by this by now. And I understand that certain fans and certain people will be thinking that, what can you add to it, or why do we need to talk about it at all? I mean, Tony on the site even said that we're starting to sound like Arsenal TV. As I said, I couldn't disagree more strongly, simply because there is a case to be answered here, and as I said in the reply, I don't for 1 minute think that John Moss is out to get Liverpool. That's there's no evidence to suggest that. I just think he's incompetent. I think him as linesman, um, and as someone who's at the match, and had a very good view of both linesmen, neither of them showered themselves in glory. To be honest, they were both missing blatant offsides. Obviously, some were more important than others. But my point is, if the refereeing committee are going to come out and say that the mistakes were made, and then not go into the mistakes that were made, and then not talk about what's going to happen in regards to these mistakes, this isn't Liverpool. This is bigger than Liverpool. This affects the whole league. And while I sort of don't want to use the word really, but if you are going to ignore facts and spin them to suit your own narrative, and you're supposed to be the governing body, you're the committee that overlooks, you're starting to come into conspiracy now. There's fact that says that they're not just contradicting themselves. It's gone past that now. They're just ignoring it, and that's dangerous. I mean, when I say dangerous, I mean dangerous for the game. Obviously, it's not life threatening. Let's not make it bigger than it is, but it's dangerous for the game, and it's just something we don't want to see, and we don't need to see it. And a lot of ex-referees have come out and echoed these thoughts and just said, listen, people need to be held accountable, and they're not being.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got something similar down here. There's nobody who's willing to take accountability. The whole training for the refs needs to improve dramatically. The respect's got to go both ways. I think the fact that they're trying to hide the conversation that they're having for the penalty from not from all the players, but from the captains themselves,
Yeah,
shows that they've got something to hide, as
exactly.
opposed to having an open conversation. So I think it's about time that they were mic'd up and that respect started going both ways.
Couldn't
Uh,
agree more. It's
yeah, it's
it
just
is.
farcical.
It's about the idea of accountability. And John Moss goes over and he speaks to his linesman and he says, that the linesman says, I can't tell you if it was offside or not because I didn't see the touch. And John Moss says to Martin Atkinson, what did you see on the TV? Now, for that to be the case, he's broken FA guidelines there. That was not a VAR match. You can't ask for TV guidelines, and no one is saying anything about it within the refereeing committee.
Yeah,
Nobody. And that's
asking them.
disgusting. That's circling the wagons. That's beyond the pale, that man. I mean, it really is. It's scary to the
Yeah,
point where they're deciding the outcome of games based on a whim.
Yeah,
He literally, his last words were, "I'm going to give the penalty anyway."
yeah. He basically, I'm sort of paraphrasing a bit here, but he basically said, "I didn't see it either. Is there anything on the TV? I'm giving it anyway."
That was for Kane, wasn't it?
That's what. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's crazy.
And then to compile that, to combine that with the second decision, where John Moss has seen the incident, hasn't given the penalty, um, and then the linesman, who wasn't definitive about anything throughout the whole game. I can say, as someone who was at the match and was watching the linesman, and there's people there who sat around me who'll tell you I was screaming offside and they weren't being given, and I've seen them on the telly since and they were blatantly offside. And it's for him to go to him, and he's not being definitive about anything the whole game, but he's determined that this is a penalty. And I mean, is there contact? I've looked at it time and time and time again, and you could say there is contact. But if it is contact, and it's still an if, it's the most bare contact ever. And if you look at it, he's pulling away from the contact. And it's because Lamella jumps at him. He jumps into him with no thought of playing the ball. The ball's gone. It's unplayable in terms of what Lamella's doing. And this doesn't come into the consideration at all. It's just basically, is there contact? Is there the minutest bit of contact? Is that what we've come to? Is that genuinely it? Now, if you brush someone, it's a penalty. There's no thought to the whole context of what happened. It's just literally going to be strikers throwing themselves at defenders to get any kind of contact. We saw it with Calvert-Lewin. And everyone went, oh, well, Lovren gave the referee a decision to make. No, he didn't. Calvert-Lewin gave the referee a decision to make when he launched himself at Lovren. It's if this is what we're going to get a penalty in every single game, because strikers aren't stupid. If they're going to see this happening, they're going to start throwing themselves into defenders to get the barest of touches, worse than it's ever been.
Yeah. See, this is the problem. The problem is we're having this conversation now, and we could have easily been having this conversation 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the problem's still not been addressed. And that's not good enough. That's while the rest of the game is moving forward, the officiating of it is actually getting worse, and the rules are getting worse, and the interpretation of those rules are getting worse.
Exactly.
If
you've got a group of professional referees arguing amongst each other about whether it's a penalty or not, completely ignoring both offsides, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And as you say, the linesman's not complicit in this, because he says, I didn't see it. For the first goal, for the Kane goal, he goes, I didn't see it. I can't confirm there was a touch. John Moss takes it upon himself to assume that he's offside. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. Don't get me wrong, it's not as cut and dry. It's cut and dry that Kane dives. It is cut and dry. He holds his leg in, he waits for contact, the barest of contact, and he goes down like a man who, that contact doesn't determine that kind of reaction. And I'm not sitting here and saying he's the first to do it. I'm not saying that Suarez hasn't done it. I'm not saying that hundreds of players, thousands of players before him haven't done it. But the fact is, it's still a dive. And there's no way that anyone could have seen 100% that that's a penalty. And for him to go over and ask and then not be given any clarification and then just go, do you know what, I'm going to give it anyway. That's disgusting.
Yeah, well, if he was sure, he wouldn't have even needed the discussion. It would have just been given. It's the lack of consistency in it as well, because half of the time this is what we're talking about, and it's, well, if there's contact and he goes down, then he's entitled to a penalty, which we don't agree with. I think the majority of people don't agree with, but other people do. But then there'll be contact in another match, and it'll be, oh, well, it wasn't enough for him to go down, so it's not a penalty.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't have both. It's got to be there's got, whether we like the decision or not, it's better to have a decision than for it to be up in the air all the time. So much of it is about interpretation and opinion that they've not got a leg to stand on.
Well, do you know what? I can't wait for these Spurs fans who are having such happy times, living it up. I can't wait for the decision to go against them. Because it's going to happen, because it happens to every team. And this is the thing, you see. This is where, I'm only using Arsenal TV because it was the thing that was brought up to kind of beat us with. And there are idiots out there who are going, oh yeah, he was fist pumping and he's celebrating and things like that. There's a million different things. He could have had cramp. We don't know what's in his hand, you know what I mean? There's 100 different things. You're taking away from the actual issue. And the actual issue is that there was no accountability. And I'm not bothered if it's John Moss. I'm not bothered if it's against Liverpool. I'm not bothered if the system is broken and needs to be fixed. It's as simple as that. And I mean, it brings us on to VAR. Personally,
just quickly, I think he did fist bump, but I think people have taken that completely out of context. I think that was just yes, I've got the decision right.
I don't honestly think it was that. I don't even think it was that. I haven't seen enough to see him celebrate, and I don't see any reason why he'd celebrate. And I'm not even. I mean, no offense to you or anyone else, but I'm not entertaining that fact. He knows he's got cameras all over him. He's surely not that stupid. I don't see that, and I'm not. As I say, bringing in that side of things takes away from the actual issue. It's the real issue here is accountability. It's kind of like, for our American listeners, the Patriots who've just lost the Super Bowl to the Eagles. The game before it, everyone's saying the refs are all over them. The refs give them everything, and it turns out in the Eagles game that there were two contentious decisions and both went to the Eagles, not the Patriots. So that was, as we knew all along, it was loads of rubbish. But there was one bit where in the previous game, the ref can be seen and it can be made to look like he's celebrating with the players. And what actually happened was he thought that the way that they were celebrating the Jaguars players, the Patriots players against the Jaguars, he got caught up in the middle of it and he thought that the celebration was them actually fighting with each other. And when he finds out what's happened, he's like, no, I feel like an idiot now, and he starts laughing. But to people who don't actually know what happened, you look at that, you take it out of context, and you see someone celebrating with another team. It's dangerous to assume things. I'm not assuming anything. I'm not calling anyone out in terms of how they feel, what their end game was, what their agenda was, what anything was. The people I'm calling out are John Moss, because he made a decision without enough evidence to make that decision. I'm calling out the linesman in terms of not as bad as Moss, but in terms of the fact that that was the only thing he seemed sure about the whole game. And for him to wait, to be furiously waving his flag to bring the attention of the referee, when the referee has clearly just said, I'm playing on. Yeah. We're on a counter-attack, do you know what I mean? The game continues. So I'm calling that out. Maybe not even the linesman, maybe he is doing his job, but I'm calling it out because it just seemed very suspicious of the way that went down. I've not seen that for a long time. It's very rare. But do you know what? In fact, forget it. Forget the linesman. Forget the fishbone. Forget the fact he did it. If that's how he sees it, then that's fine. I'm not even calling that out. I'm calling John Moss out, and I'm calling the Referees Association out for circling the wagons. And those two are fact. The other one, I'm guilty of it there. The linesman, he's done his job. He's not done it in a way that I like. I've had a go of it and thingy. And it did look a bit strange, and I've taken that a bit too far maybe. The other two, no. There is something there that needs to be answered, and answered fully. Not just mistakes were made, but the right decision was given. I'm sorry, but if mistakes were made, two wrongs don't make it right. It's not like a therefore kind of diagram, so you can't just say. I'll give you an example. When I was in school, I used to always get the answer right for maths, but they always used to tell me my working out was wrong. Mm-hmm. So I got marked down for the fact that I wasn't doing it properly.
The way that they wanted you to do it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
if there are rules, whether you agree with them or not, if there are definitive rules of how to get to a situation, how to get to an answer, you have to follow those rules. And that's what they were trying to teach me. And I didn't realise it until I was older and I learned the scientific method. And you can come to the right answer, but until someone's peer reviewed your answer, which is what's going on here, if they were being honest, they would have peer reviewed that and they would have gone, you've got to the right answer, but you've done it the wrong way, and therefore it's wrong.
Yeah, they haven't even bothered to do that, though.
No, they've just said, mistakes were made, but he was right. And they literally haven't given the reasons why he was right. They haven't considered the fact that it was open to interpretation. They haven't considered the fact that one of them was definitely offside. They've just completely ignored the situation. And to be honest with you, mate, I'm bored, and I'm sure our listeners are bored of just going round and round and round in circles on it. It was something that we had to look at. Do you know what? I'm actually angry at the fact, not that we drew, because we'll come to that later in the game. I'm angry at the fact that after the window closed, I thought, right, now we can settle. We can concentrate on football. And now this.
Yeah, here we are having to talk about something else again.
And we have to talk about it. As I say, though, that's it, I'm done. I'll quickly say about VAR. My personal opinion is that I don't want it, but I do. I am heavily conflicted. I want decisions like that out of the game. I want diving out of the game. But at the same time, VAR in its current guise has no place in football, and the West Brom match showed that. And it will do more harm than good right now. They need to keep testing it, whether it's lower leagues, whether it's whatever. They need to keep testing it, and they need to come up with a much, much better version of VAR, because as it stands now, I don't want it anywhere near the game.
No, it's terrible. I just don't think it fits at all with our sport. Not in the same way that it does in other ones. Just football, for me, is too quick. There's too many things that are a matter of opinion. I mean, even watching the two incidents in the Spurs game, time and time again, there's still people that are saying it was a penalty, it wasn't a penalty, was offside, it wasn't offside. If we'd have had VAR in that game, it wouldn't have given us any better an answer. It would have just taken even more time, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you,
like I say, the way it is at the moment, it just does not work. They need to either massively overhaul it and change it completely.
I kind of disagree with that, because so far VAR has been getting the right answers for the main decisions. There's been some that have been open to interpretation, but VAR would have picked up the fact that both of those were offside. But actually, thinking about it, it would have depended on the interpretation for the first one, but the second one they would have picked up as offside, 100%. So it does have its place in that way. But as I say, I'll leave it at this, because I want to talk about football, because that's what we're here for. We're football fans, for God's sake. If there's no conspiracy and there's no collusion, then why did Jurgen Klopp, at the end of the West Brom game, come out and say he was told categorically by a fourth official that the game was cut short to suit BT Sport? And why, if it was not true, if it was nonsense and there was nothing to it, and they would have wanted to highlight it, why hasn't he faced any sanctions?
That's the first time I've heard about that. That's amazing.
Well, look it up. Yeah. If that's not true, then he's facing the biggest FA fine and touchline ban you've ever seen. I mean, he's watching the game from London. Do you know what I mean? But they didn't want to draw attention to it. And why didn't they want to draw attention to it? Because there's some truth to it. And we all watched that West Brom game, and we all just went, what? Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Why is there not at least like 8 minutes?
Yeah, they just completely just ignored any kind of added time and just went, oh, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. I'm done. I
Yes.
can't talk about it anymore. It winds me up. There's a case to be answered. Let's see how it progresses. In terms of the game itself, and this will show you why I'm not bitter, Tottenham were good value for their draw.
If anything, I would say they deserve 3 points more than we did.
I wouldn't go that far. I would say for the first somewhere between 45 and 60 minutes, Liverpool were the better side and could have ran away with the game. Few better passes from Mane to Salah and Salah to Mane, and you know it's one of them 3-4 pick your score type games. We didn't execute, no excuse. That's on us. And then the turning point for me is Henderson coming off the park, and for all the stick that lad gets, he ran that midfield, ran it. Nobody got a second on a ball when Henderson was in that midfield. And then as soon as he came off, it was like Chan just went, oh, I'm done for the day now. I'm done, I'm just going to sit back. And I get that there was certain amounts of tactics to it, and we were going to try and absorb pressure and hit them on the break, but it's no coincidence for me that as soon as Henderson comes off, Spurs are given the midfield. And I was screaming. I was like, Dembele's got too much time. And I didn't agree with taking Dembele off. I'll be honest. I didn't agree with bringing Wanyama on and taking Dembele off. And obviously that looks silly now, given what Wanyama does. But Dembele was running the midfield because no one was getting anywhere near him. And the only time we got near him was when we fouled him. And that became fewer and further between as the match went on. And you can't just put it down to tiredness.
See, I am gonna, but it is also because Henderson came off. Like you say, once Henderson came off the pitch, Dembele did run the show in that midfield. But before that, in the first half, I thought Henderson, Can and Milner all had a good game. I thought they all had a really good game. They bossed it in there. And then the three up front were just allowed to go and play. We should have been 2-3-0 up at half time. But I think we did just run out of steam. I think the way that they tried to soak up what we were throwing at them, even though they had more possession of the ball, I think they conserved their energy better than we did.
Do you know why I'm not having that though?
They just had more legs than us in the second half. They completely overrun us.
Yeah,
I think they were better than us in the second half.
Do you know why I'm not having that though? Because if we'd have had better squad depth, we'd have won that game. Because we brought on Oxlade-Chamberlain, who I'm a fan of, who did nothing, absolutely nothing.
But that was actually his poorest.
The one thing I will applaud him for is he ran half the length of the field to close down the goalkeeper. That was it. Gini Wijnaldum, just no, just wasn't good enough at all. Didn't get involved in the game. Chan fell asleep. You can talk about it being tactical. You can put there were times there when he didn't have to exert himself to get that ball. And listen, I'm not saying it's because he's lazy. I'm saying it's because he's not mentally attuned enough to know when to make a tackle and when to drop back. And I think as soon as they were told to drop back, he did nothing but drop back. And you can't play like that. You can't invite teams onto you. We invited Tottenham onto us for over half an hour. And they, as you say, could have won the game. And if they had won the game in different circumstances, I wouldn't have had a bad word to say about it. Because in that second half, most of that second half, they completely played us off the park. And it was just a matter of time before the mistakes came and the opportunities for the penalties came, and we were hanging on. It's not that we drew. It feels like a loss in some ways. It's not that we drew. It's how we drew. It's the manner of the draw. I am not one of these people who will come out and go, oh, the decisions that the ref made was completely, and I think that's where Tony's coming from with this Arsenal TV idea. And that's not us. That's not what we do. We take a considered look at all factors. And
Yeah, all things considered, 2-2 is a fair result. As I say, I'd even go further the other way and say if they win the game, yeah, no argument, still probably the better side over the whole 90 minutes, in my opinion. Yeah, the controversy's got to be talked about, but as far as the football's concerned, I've got no arguments with the result at all.
see, I'd say that's a little bit of recency bias on your behalf, because you just said before that we should have been 3-4 nil up, which we should have.
But we weren't.
Yeah, but over the 90, it's at the very least, it's 50-50. Just because Spurs ended the game stronger, I think there's a lot of recency bias in football. You can play the best first half in the world. You could play literally the best football in the first half ever. If you don't go on to win that game, no one gives a toss what you did in that first half. And I get that, and I understand it's right to some degree, but you can't just write it off. And I don't think you're doing it deliberately, and I don't think, but you've just said over the 90 Spurs are the better team, and I can't agree with that personally. And I do think it is a little bit of recency bias, because the last thing we saw was Tottenham just knocking the ball about for fun. We made Tottenham look like Barcelona in that second last half an hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on that.
That's fair enough.
But I understand the recency bias, and we've all been guilty of it. But with this particular game, I just genuinely think they had the better of it over the 90. I mean, yes, we should have been probably 2 or 3-0 up, but the fact is we weren't, and they went on to have the better periods in the game.
Okay, answer me this then. If they were the better team over 90 minutes, why did Harry Kane only come into the game with dodgy decisions?
Because they didn't play him into the game enough. But
No, it's not. No, you're doing what other fans do when they talk about Liverpool. It's not they didn't play him into the game. It's that they couldn't play him into the game.
Because we were defensively brilliant. But
exactly,
like up 80 minutes, we were defensively brilliant. But that doesn't mean that they played badly, or that we were the better side.
No, it doesn't. But
they dwarfed us in terms of possession. They have more shots on target over the course of the 90 minutes. You can't just ignore those facts.
I'm not ignoring them, but you're talking about possession. First of all, possession means very little in the Premier League. We've seen this. It's not like in other leagues. I personally don't put all that much stock in possession. I understand it's important to a degree. I understand it's one of the important statistics. In terms of more shots, they didn't get that many quality looks at our goal.
We didn't get that many quality looks at those.
Are you kidding?
No, not at all. Not at all. First half we should have, but the final ball wasn't good enough.
Yeah, but even when the final ball wasn't good enough, even when the final ball wasn't good enough, we were getting those looks. We were one pass away. They weren't. They were crossing. Their game plan was to get their fullbacks up the field, which they did well, and cross in behind us. And
well, we allowed them to do that anyway.
We didn't allow them to do it. Our fullbacks actually did quite well to stop it.
I think that was like our whole game plan, was to allow them to have the ball in wide positions.
Yeah, no, I agree with that to a certain degree. Listen, for me personally, I'm not talking about possession. I'm not talking about shots on target. There's certain games where if you've got like 70+% of the ball and you've just been the attacking team for 90 minutes, then that comes into play. It wasn't end to end, but it was one team didn't have the clear dominance of the other. So for me, that's like a 50-50. I don't buy that. In terms of shots, they did have more shots, but they were shooting from range. I remember thinking to myself that I was delighted with our defence, given the fact that they were making them hit the ball from such distances and how far we've come on. And you know I'm a big Matip fan as well. I haven't got a bad word to say about Lovren other than that one mistake that he seems to always make against Tottenham.
Yeah. I commented on the same myself about the shots from distance, and on 75 minutes I'd actually posted about the fact that we defended so well. It's the best we've defended for a long time.
Tottenham are no mug side. They've just come off the back of a 2-0 win at Old Trafford. At Wembley against Man United.
Mm.
They moved the ball excellently. There's a reason that Real Madrid are looking at Pochettino. It's
Yeah.
it's not a fluke, and for us to go, and I don't want to say we were robbed by the referee, but the fact is we were. For all the fact that um, we invited that pressure and we didn't, all that happened, it still comes down to the fact that for 94 minutes they couldn't find a way to get a point from that game, and then they were handed one.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how anyone can say that they deserve to win. I'll give them a draw because we backed off and they took the chance to make. It was kind of a sort of you earn your own luck. Now they didn't earn it because they cheated, but if you keep putting yourself in certain positions, especially with this Liverpool defence, they will give you chances.
Yeah.
And from that point of view, I hold my hands up. But personally, I'm not saying if they'd won that game they deserve to. And I get where you're coming from, but it's a severe agree to disagree on that one. I completely respect your decision.
I think we both said a draw was the fair result, and I'm happy with that. A draw is a fair result.
Yeah.
I just think if either deserved it, if they'd have gone on to win the game.
I understand where you're coming from. If you'd have took the decisions out and they'd have been able to win the game, then you couldn't really have said too much. But then again, if you'd have took the decisions out and we could have gone on to win the game, I still don't think anyone could have said much. And we're going over and over it. But it unlike with the refereeing committee, there's no definitive answer. We're not here. We're not being paid to give definitive answers. We're football fans who have our own opinion on things. And by the way, I've given more reasons and more considered thought to this than they have. And if that doesn't ring alarm bells, I don't know what will. But anyway, on to Southampton. Thoughts?
Well, you know how I'm worried about them. Anyway, I know they got a good result this weekend.
I knew you were going to start with them worried.
That was coming. I can't see us having any problems in this game at all. Do you want me to say my prediction for the predictions slot?
Yeah, let's save it.
I think we'll be comfortable anyway.
I think, given what just happened, and given the fact that we're away from home and we're a better team away from home, I know it sounds stupid given our record, but I genuinely believe we're a better team away from home because teams will try and come at us a little bit more. Well, no, all right. Actually, no, I can't say that. I think you know what I mean, though.
I know what you mean. I think the shackles are off a little bit.
We're more likely to just paste a team that aren't up to us.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we're a better team because our record clearly states that we're not. And again, that's a massive props to Klopp. Basically, if you look at our 3 losses, there's only Man City who've really taken us to town, and that was with 10 men.
I think Spurs battered us, didn't they, to be fair?
Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, actually. But again, that's kind of something that's out of his control, given Lovren had to be restrained.
Yeah, I think we were very poor on the day, and some very poor individual mistakes.
I hold my hands up there because I've kind of blocked Tottenham out of my mind. Who's the other loss?
It's recent, isn't it? Port Swansea.
Of course, Swansea. Yeah.
Which was the start of a, well, not even the start of it. It's been part of the very good run and why they're climbing the table.
And by the way, Carlos Carvalho seems to be a less obnoxious Mourinho. at this moment in time.
I think some of the things he comes out with at the moment are great.
Oh,
But
do you know what? I love that.
yeah,
The F1.
the F1
Put
thing.
the
Yeah,
F1 car in traffic. That was brilliant.
did you see
I
the
don't
one
care
about
if it was
Mares?
against us. Oh yeah, where I don't care what my neighbour does.
Yeah,
I say hello to him from time to time. It's brilliant. That. See, but
yeah,
this
it's
is it.
good.
Like, this is the difference. Like, when Mourinho first came to the Premier League, and I'm only going to say this one thing about him because I don't want it to be a Mourinho show. When he first came to the Premier League, he was a bit of a character, and
Ah, too.
it was fresh. It was unique.
Yeah.
It was nice to have that character in there. But then he kind of stopped being a pantomime villain and became an actual villain.
Yeah, I think his little funny quips and the fact that he was brass enough to take people on, he got tired very, very
He had
quickly.
some cracking quotes when he said, I'm not worried about the Premier League. Winning the Premier League, I'm worried about bird flu." That was brilliant. That was genius. Oh, when he talked about the omelette and the class of eggs that you need to make an omelette. Like
He did.
he
He did
was
what we come down to.
genuinely funny. And even when he did the shush through all the Liverpool fans, I never bought that. I was like, oh, he's a pantomime villain, because he was at the time. But then he's actually lived long enough to see himself become the villain, as they say in Batman. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
that. Anyway, away from Mourinho. Because he is like an all-encompassing character. He can't take over. Do you know what I mean? He still has that ability. Man United and Mourinho will always be a topic at hand, the same way Klopp and Liverpool
yeah,
probably
for very
jump up
different
on their
reasons.
shows all the time. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, in terms of Southampton, um, I'm slightly worried.
What for Southampton? Have you finally come round to it?
No, I'm slightly worried for us.
Nah.
No, I am, and I'll tell you why. Southampton's big problem has been scoring goals, and they just put 3 past a defence that we couldn't get one past.
Yeah, one
Uh,
of the best defences in the league this season.
we got 2 in the end, in the second game, but still, I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as people are making out. The only thing that makes me think that we could go and just smash them is if we feel hard done by against Tottenham, and Klopp whips them into such a frenzy
Yeah,
that they just go out and annihilate them. But I've got too much respect for Southampton, and I'm not gonna say this is gonna be a walkover. So make it that what you will. But what about starting team? What would you? Anything you'd like to say? I mean, going back to the Spurs game just before that, just a quick overall. I thought Karius played really well. He made one mistake, which, as much as it's a mistake to punch the ball that low, and he got a good contact on it. And if anyone would have been paying attention, that shot doesn't come in. So I'm not willing to hang Karius out to dry and blame him completely. Trent Alexander-Arnold thought he played well for the majority of the game, same as Robertson. Lovren and Van Dijk, exactly the same. The majority, it's the consistency that we, over 90 minutes, that we're struggling with. Henderson was my man of the match, right up until he came off. Salah was the man of the match for us. Firmino never stopped running. You can't help but love Roberto
no,
Firmino.
he's amazing, isn't he?
And again, the big worry for me is Sadio Mane. Ever since he's gone to that left side, he looks half the player.
See, I thought he had one of his better games. Whether that's saying something about his previous performances rather than the actual performance
I would say it is.
against Spurs, I'm not sure.
Do you know
But
the difference, right? You play him on the right, and the first thing he looks to do is just go straight past his man. You play him
yeah,
on the left, and the first thing he does is look to stand his man up.
yeah,
He's not the same player.
it's his confidence in certain situations as well. When he gets to the byline, he didn't really get his head up.
Yeah, he's not wrapping his
So
left
it
foot
somebody
around
out. He just kind of sort of flicked it across straight into the first defender. It was yeah, strange at times. But then Salah was quite loose with a couple of his passes as well in good situations. So
Well, personally, I think if we do end up getting Lamar, I think Mane could be on borrowed time. He's got a lot to prove to make sense, because it looks like he can only play in one position.
Be a shame that it's a massive turnaround in 6 months.
It really is, and I'm getting well ahead of myself. Let's give him till the end of the season. Let's see if he can adapt. But at this moment in time, Klopp thinks he's a world-class player some of the time. I agree with that, but not enough at the time. And
it's consistency again, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's been consistently.
Yeah, I really do. And well, actually, do you know what? I don't think he's on borrowed time. I'll take that back. I think he would be on borrowed time for any other team in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But I think because Klopp's his manager, he's got 2-3 years. Because that's how he works. That's how he rolls. But if Lamar comes into this team, he might not be on borrowed time and all that, but Lamar's a far better left winger.
Yeah,
far better.
A player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gonna. I'm just really, really hoping we can get him for like 60, 70 million, because he's boss. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, in terms of lineup, I think it'd be pretty similar, wouldn't you?
I would say pretty similar. Yeah. I think Cam's played a few games in a row now. I'd probably drop him out and put Oxlade-Chamberlain back in, just to give us a little bit more of an attacking threat. I don't think you need all three of them in there against Southampton.
Does Gomez come back in?
Like that. So I'm not sure if Gomez is fit. I don't think he was fit for the Spurs game, was he?
No.
So I'm not sure. I think he'll probably stick with the back four. I mean, for 80, 85 minutes, they were brilliant, so why not?
Agreed. Do you know what? I try not to be a hypocrite, and I've been more of a fan of Henderson than a lot of people. But I have called him out, and I have said he's limited, and I have, put him to the sword. I can't imagine Liverpool's midfield without him already now.
Yeah, and he's only been back a couple of games.
I really can't. He does something that none of the others do. He wins the 50-50 and keeps the ball moving. And it's such an underrated. Do you know what? Busquets does the same for Barcelona, and I'm not saying he's Busquets, because Busquets is like world class at what he does, but that's enough for them.
Yeah. So
why isn't it enough for us?
Because everyone wants the Jordan Henderson of 13, 14, which just never going to happen.
No. That Jordan Henderson had Steven Gerrard behind him.
Yeah.
That's, if you put Steven Gerrard behind him in that team, then yeah, he'll do that. He won't do it as well as Gerrard used to, but he had to be Gerrard because we had Gerrard in there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He had to be the old Gerrard so the new Gerrard could function.
Yeah. People just can't accept Henderson for the player that he is now. I think that's the problem.
No. Well, I think we've covered that pretty well. Any danger men for Southampton that you'd like to pick out?
It was a good finish from that Lamina, but I don't know enough about him to say he'll be a danger man, but he looks half decent.
Yeah, I liked him when he was at Juventus. I was very surprised to see him rock up at Southampton, and I think he's a very good player. But the danger man, but I'll say danger men. I'll say James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, seems to be back at the races now, doesn't
he? Yeah, he's a quality player. Really good footballer, James Ward-Prowse. And Carrillo. I think he's taken to Southampton like a duck to water.
Okay.
So yeah, they're the ones I'd be wary of. There's one name I'll throw in. I don't think he'll start though. That's why I'm not giving him as me think. But if he did, he'd be the one player that I'd really worry about, and that would be Shane Long.
He seems to play well against us.
He always plays well against us. He takes his game to a different level against us. So
when Southampton go down, would you look at any other players?
Southampton aren't going down. Nice try. But I'd definitely look at James Ward-Prowse if Southampton went down. He'd be the one for me. But there's no way Southampton are selling us any more players. Forget it. It's done. that particular association ended the day that we tapped up Van Dijk and got caught.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's gone. No, there's no we'll see about it. It's over. We won't be signing any more players from Southampton. I'm telling you now, it's not happening.
Sell one the other way just to like sweeten things back up.
Maybe, but I will give you very good odds that we don't sign a Southampton player for a long time. On to the upcoming fixtures: Tottenham versus Arsenal.
I think this will be a really good game. I've gone 3 apiece.
Ooh, I like it. My head says Tottenham. My heart, to some degree, says Arsenal because I'm there with Tom Gully. Arsenal can't defend. Tottenham can. Do you know what though? When these two meet, it goes out the window. But at Wembley, I don't know. I'm really torn on this one. Do you know what?
If they play,
I'll say Tottenham. And I've got logic behind it, and the reason is because I want Arsenal to win because it's good for us. So I'm going to say that my heart is trying to rule my head, and my head is saying Tottenham, so I'll say Tottenham. Sorry, Tom. I would be delighted to be wrong, though.
I just think on that big pitch, if Ozil, or you'll pronounce his name right in a minute, I'm sure.
I'm happy with Ozil.
Aubameyang and Lacazette, if they both play with their pace on that pitch and he picks out the passes, I think they could really make Spurs work for it.
Do you know what? After what Arsenal did to them last time as well, with a worse team, do you know what? I'm flip-flopping. I'm saying Arsenal. I'm saying Arsenal. You've convinced me. The amount of space that there's going to be, Ozil and Mkhitaryan, their vision to be able to pick out a pass. Aubameyang's going to be well up for it. We should have been 3 or 4 up at half time. Despite how good Tottenham might be defensively, maybe they're not that good against better teams. I'm saying Arsenal. You talked me into it.
There we go, good stuff.
Yeah, well done.
That's unusual.
I know, and you know what? I think it might be like you say, where it's just one of them crazy games of football where the pitch is just wide open.
So if you're listening out there, get your money on Spurs.
I want Arsenal to win, but you convinced me, and I'm sticking with it. I'm saying Arsenal. I'm going with it. Everton against Crystal Palace.
Everton 2-1. They need a result.
Palace 2-1.
I hope you're right.
Stoke against Brighton.
I've gone Stoke 1-0, but this could go either way.
I'll go 1-1. Big result for Brighton last time out, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Against West Ham.
Yeah, massive result.
Swansea against Burnley.
I've gone 0-0.
It's a tricky one, that. 2-1 Swansea.
I can't see there being that many goals in it. I think if it was at Burnley, I think you'd be looking at maybe Burnley 1-0. But
I wouldn't. Again, you don't back against Burnley at all.
No.
I haven't done it all season, literally all season, and it's been the best decision I've made this season. I think they've only lost, it's 2 at home. Funnily enough, I think we beat them at home. Arsenal beat them at home. Tottenham. So 3 I can think of.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
There might be more, I don't know. There probably is. Did Man U beat them at home?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I
can't remember either. West Ham against Watford.
Your former fanboys are back on it, aren't they?
Do you know what? For one night only, I was a fanboy again.
I called that as well. I didn't call 4-1, but I thought Watford would win.
Did you see Troy Deeney's celebration?
Yes.
Not all heroes wear capes. I tell you.
West Ham struggling as well at the moment. I've gone 2-0 Watford.
Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to Stephen Hart as well, who was hilarious watching the Chelsea Watford game because he was like, it came up on his feed and it said there, "Oh, watch Watford will fuck this up now," and then it was like, "Goal for Watford, goal for Watford, goal for Watford." So he cried that one in for us. So well done, Steve. I'll say it's a really difficult one to call. There's a couple of nasty little ones this week.
It's tough this week.
I think after playing the way they played against Watford, against Chelsea, I think there'll be a bit of a come down, and I think West Ham might sneak a result in this one. So I'll say 1-0 West Ham. And then Man City against Leicester.
I've gone Man City 3-1.
Again, but you've got to back Man City, obviously, especially at home. No matter, I think City could just turn them over in this one. I like 3-1. Yeah, I'll piggyback you on that one. And that's it. Any fantasy players that you've got?
There's a few more. Yeah, I think that's it for Saturday.
Oh yeah, of course. Huddersfield against Bournemouth.
I've gone 1-0 Bournemouth. I'm quite worried about Huddersfield now with a recent one. I'm almost as worried as I am about Southampton.
I like Bournemouth a lot, but I think this is going to be one where Huddersfield are absolutely desperate. I mean, like they know how important 3 points is, and I'm going to say 2-1 Huddersfield. I think they'll get it done. I think they'll
kind of thought you right. I like Bournemouth as well, but I like Huddersfield, so it'd be nice to see them get some points on the board.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Huddersfield. Part of me wants to say 2-1 Bournemouth as well, but listen, I'm not making that decision with my head. That's all heart. I want Huddersfield to get something, but I want Bournemouth to get something as well. So I'm just saying Huddersfield need it more.
Yeah,
that's where I've come down on that one. Newcastle against Man United.
Well, talking about head over heart over head even. I think Newcastle might spring a surprise. I've gone 2-1 Newcastle.
We back Man United every week.
We do.
So you can't say it's heart over head. This is head over heart. Newcastle are going to win this game. Newcastle are going to win this game because Rafa has finally got a striker.
Yeah.
He's finally got a striker. Slimani will play that game. And he'll make a huge difference to Newcastle. Newcastle have nothing to lose against Manchester United. They need points. And they will come out and they will beat Man United.
If anyone can out-tactic him, it'll be Rafa, isn't it?
Rafa will find a way. I will say 1-0 Newcastle. It's going to be one of them games. Alamo. Early-ish goal and then just Rafa special.
Yes. I hope we're right with that.
What are you going with?
I've gone 2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 Newcastle. Southampton against Liverpool.
4-0 Liverpool.
You never learn, do you?
No, not at all. Honestly, I do think it'll be that comfortable. And I think it'll be a massive backlash as well after yesterday, day before.
2-1 Liverpool. Finally, and this time it is finally, Chelsea against West Brom.
Chelsea have to win this game. I've gone 2-0 Chelsea. But with West Brom's defensive record, I don't know. It could just be the one goal in it, but I'll stick with a 2-0.
Okay. I will say that it's 1-1.
That's got to be the nail in the coffin if it is.
Is it though? Because, I mean, I think the nail's already well and truly in the coffin. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
He's come out. He's said that he's not happy. He said that he wants to go back to Italy. There were all kinds of murmurs about it. Even before that, when he signed the contract, that was a PR exercise. He's gone, mate. He's not going to be
He
manager at Chelsea for much
himself
longer.
so much because then he said he wants to see out his contract and he just
Yeah,
contradicts himself.
yeah, but it's all mind get. He's gone.
Yeah.
There's too much smoke, far too much smoke. There's a fire. You can't have that much smoke. And Gus Hiddink's going to be the man who comes in short term, like he always does for Chelsea.
Yes.
And then they'll make a run at Simeone.
Ancelotti will come in short term.
Maybe. Fantasy teams.
I would go with an obvious one of Salah this week.
No, I'm not going to say it. I will say get Henrik Mkhitaryan in your team at all costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. He scores goals, he makes goals, he's found a club where he can play football.
I think it's a great move for him.
That's a fantastic move for him. And Man United will be the death of Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Because you can't get away with the kind of dialed in performances he was putting in just because he was unhappy. And sooner or later he'll be unhappy at Manchester United because
there's no way to play.
And because they're going to watch other teams win the title and win trophies, and nothing about Man United worries me. No. Quite the opposite, in fact.
It's quite strange because they're like I think they've got a 5-point gap above us now.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's there. In the games I've seen them playing, how the hell are they 5 points above us?
Well, Mourinho's tried to buy his way, and at best he's going to buy his way to second. And I just, there's no fear about them at all. Just none. I'm not. They don't even register for me, and that's weird saying that, because in the past, I'll be honest and I'll say like, oh, they look like they're coming and they look like they're doing the right things and all that. They just look like a short term. Do you know what it looks like? Mourinho looks like a gambler who's chasing.
Yeah.
He looks like he's just throwing all his money in the hope that it'll work.
Yeah, black's come in like 10 times in a row, so red's got to come out sooner or later, so he just keeps putting it on.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. He's just, Sanchez, yeah, well, you know, he's getting up there in age. Obviously, we'll have his peak years, but is he worth destroying the wage budgets of the club for? Let's not just sit and think about that. Let's just throw money at it and see how it works out.
He don't care, because if it doesn't work out, he'll just go to PSG.
Well, it's basically what Thingy did. Ferguson, towards the end of his tenure at Man United, when he made the most un-Man United type signing when he bought Robin van Persie. Because that was it. That was his way of saying, I'm going for it. I've got a couple of years left, maybe one, maybe two, and I'm just going to throw all my chips in. And what happened was, Man City ended up screwing up his plan, and he basically screwed United for the next couple of years. Well, even now, have they really come back? But anyway, Jeff, forget Man United. We always end up talking about Man United.
It's going to be an interesting podcast in a few weeks.
Oh yeah, Christ. It'll be interesting to have who's this lad that you know who's a Man U fan? What's his name?
Hoping to have a lad called Tom Seed coming up before the Manchester United game in a few weeks.
Well, he'll be welcome here, and while we hate Manchester United and always will, you know, football's a game of opinions, and I am very interested to hear an opinion of a Man United fan and see what he thinks of Mourinho. So the floor's his if he wants it.
Well, he's clued up. He's one of the few clued up ones. He won't mind me saying that. So yeah, it should be good.
Good on him. So that brings it to the end. Yeah, there was one other important thing that we wanted to talk about, and obviously it's not an easy thing to discuss, but it's 60 years to the day since the Munich Air Disaster. Um, it cost the lives of 23 of the 44 people on board, 6 crew, 38 passengers. Um, some things are just bigger than football, and this is one of them. And our hearts go out to the families and fans of Manchester United on this day of all days. And there's not really much more we can really say other than we do remember them, and we do stand together at this time. And rivalry has to take a back seat. Anything you wanted to say, Chris?
No, you're absolutely spot on. Some things are just much bigger than football. This is one of them. It's just a tragedy that should never happen and should never be forgotten.
And with that, we'll call an end to the show. Chris, thank you very much for joining us. If you want to see more from Chris, feel free to add yourself onto his Facebook page, the Red Rebel Alliance. Obviously, if you want to hear more from both me and Chris, add yourself on Over the Pool and Far Away. If you've got any feedback or anything like that, it's otpafa@gmail.com. For now, we'll end the show as we always do, just by saying, come on Liverpool.